It's been a while.
It's Over the Pond with Fraser and John. Quack. We're back. We never left. I don't know. People are lying. People are saying it's been a long time since the podcast has happened. I don't know what they're talking about.
They're lying.
I think we uploaded a podcast yesterday.
You guys are just not real fans.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about. Gaslighting isn't even a real thing.
Yeah, you guys should honestly do better and maybe start liking the videos more, commenting more, and interacting more, because I don't think you guys are doing enough. To be honest.
Yeah, I think that's what I was thinking. I think if you feel you haven't seen a podcast episode in your subscriptions or recommended, it's because you're not a good enough fan and you're not engaging with the podcast content enough.
Realistically, if you don't think we're doing good enough, why do you think that? Maybe you need to look have an introspective look on yourself. Yeah, because blaming other people for your issues, it's not on us. It's not on us.
And you just honestly need to lower your expectations is what needs to happen here.
Because I lowered my expectations a long time ago. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. So obviously it has been a bit. We've been doing things. We've been we've both been traveling. You've been seeing family. I've been in another continent. Don't know if anyone saw that. Didn't post about it a million times. But how have you been, man?
Wait, you went somewhere? What?
I honestly, somebody I knew. It's gonna sound very dickish, but somebody I knew was abroad the other day, and they were posting every single day, 8 posts a day, and I was like, bro, just enjoy your holiday. And I was like, then I thought, hold the fuck up. I of all people can't be saying that. But it's so weird. When
you were only posting 5 times a day, so you were much more engaged and you were very engaged in the holiday. You're fine.
Yeah. I've got the bad excuse of I was in a really cool place. Mm-hmm. But how have you been, man?
You were.
I was.
I've been good, man. I grew a mustache, and so things have been pretty good. Yeah, I went back home to San Diego, visited family. That was good. I've just been kind of doing my thing, uploading videos. We actually did. This is not gaslighting. We did record another podcast that never got uploaded. So there's a secret episode that now you guys will just know that it exists, but you're never gonna see it.
That was on me completely. So what happened? I actually have fully edited that episode, and then we leave for the airport, and I'm like, I feel like there's something I'm missing, something I haven't done here. And I think I was so prioritized on packing all my essentials, going to another continent, ages away, 13-hour flight. I was had a list of everything. I was like, everything's done. All the light switches are off. Everything's packed. All the things sorted out. Kenji sorted. What is the thing at the back of my mind? And then I remember being on the flight and I was just like, I haven't rendered the podcast. I haven't clicked fucking render. And then by the time I get back, it's basically been a month. And I'm just it's not even worth, we can just, it'd be weird to go about a month and then not and then just upload a previous episode. And honestly, the entire episode was just, I believe from memory, was us ranting about, this shows how long it's been since we last recorded. This was when the JD Vance, Zielinski stuff was happening, and we were just ranting for a good hour straight. Yeah. We were ranting for ages. So honestly, it was a really good episode. But it's not. It's in terms of aging. It's so much has happened since then, so it's no point.
It would have been very random. So just so you guys know, we're starting a Patreon, and so you.
Well, you can get access to that episode.
Just that one. That's it. That's the only thing that will ever exist on it is that episode.
I feel like since we've been gone, just so much has happened in the world. Again, America has just been America, but in terms of YouTube as well, there's talks of about war in real life. YouTube right now seems to be in fucking civil war with the content cop, all the stuff of Hassan and everything, and H3. It's we're not really going to go into that today, but we can't really not acknowledge that stuff's happening. Did you watch the content cop?
Yeah, I did. I watched it, and oh man, because full disclosure, right? Let's be real. We did talk about talking about it right before the podcast, before we started recording, and I don't know. It feels like a losing battle talking about that, because I feel there's
I've not
very.
Sorry,
you go.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I've watched 20 minutes of the content cop, and I'm gonna be real. People might get mad at me. I just got bored. And not because I'm on anyone's side here, But like when I used to watch Content Cop, it used to be more for like the entertainment, like the funny skits and stuff. And I was just kind of like, look, I feel like I'm like standing in the middle of two, like a broken up couple shouting at each other.
Yeah.
And I was just like, look, I get that there's a real sensitive issue there. But if I'm being real, I just like don't feel comfortable with it being YouTube drama. Like, I don't know, like, there's just things there that I just didn't like. It's not like the stuff being touched on there. I obviously speak about the Palestinian conflict, genocide on my Instagram and stuff like that. But like, I'm not an expert on these things, of course. You don't need to be an expert to be an advocate for these things. We both know that. But it's just like with the whole Ethan, Hassan, and iDubbbz thing, that's what is more making me uncomfortable here, because like it just kind of felt that these guys have all fallen out and they're just hashing it out online. And I'm like, it just as another content, like as a fan, this must be like pretty fun to watch. But as like a content creator, it's so uncomfortable. I feel I don't know about you, but it's just like I was just watching it being like, geez, this is like, I don't know if this should be online, man. Like these guys should, I don't know. I don't even know if they can ever resolve these things. But then people will make the argument of, well, you know, certain people have been saying this for ages and doing this and doing that. It's just like such an impossible situation to have the right answer in any part. It's like almost impossible to navigate.
Yeah, there's very strong opinions on both sides, right? Like the people that are like diehard H3 people are very, you know, tuned in and like they're locked into that side. Yeah. Right. And then when it comes to the Hassan, and I guess you would almost put like iDubbbz now on that camp, right? Where it's like the people that feel that way feel very strongly and there's really nothing you can do to like dissuade and change their opinions. But like, I don't know, it was interesting because when I did watch the whole Content Cop. I know I'm a freaking I'm so good. I'm so good at watching YouTube videos.
To go further though, the Content Cop itself was an hour long. But then there's like 4-hour live streams upon 4-hour live streams, and then clips.
I did not watch that.
No, but it's like to piece everything together and work out like what's right, what's wrong. Like this is like the issue I have here. Whereas a Content Cop in like 2016, it was like, Leafy's got no chin. Leafy's an idiot. Leafy's a dick. And like that's all I need, man. I can go. Yeah. I've got my Content Cop. But now it's like, bro, this thing's still going. Like this has been a week since the Content Cop, and the debate is even bigger than it was then, arguably. Like it's just like it's a lot. Sorry.
Yeah. No, like when it comes to like the actual Content Cop, the video, right? When I watched it, this is before everything else that has happened, and like. Full disclosure, I don't know all of the other stuff because I don't engage in really any of their content for the most part. Like I know who all these people are, and on a very surface level, I engage in their stuff. But as far as like getting deep into Hassan's stuff, iDubbbz, obviously iDubbbz he's not making content at the same, you know, level that H3 and Hassan are, right? Because they're uploading videos almost every day, if not more, right?
Yeah, like H3's been very consistent for a long time. I mean, I've tuned into H3 here and there. Like, I remember when he was doing Frenemies. I didn't watch that religiously. Maybe I'll tune in for like 30 minutes, but like, it's never really been my thing. That's not a personal gripe. It's just like the content I watch. So the content I make is very different to the content I watch, because like I enjoy the content I make, but I have like a very strict thing of like, if I consume what I make constantly, I'm going to end up like not enjoying it, hating it. It's like you gotta have some like pushbacks on your own self sort of thing. But sorry, I keep interrupting. Carry on.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Like with the actual Content Cop, I thought that it was relatively grounded, and I think that's maybe why it felt boring, right? Because it was a lot less, and I'm sure there are people who are going to disagree with this, but again, this is a surface level take, so take this with a grain of salt. But it felt like someone that genuinely was friends with Ethan and has seen the trajectory that he's been going down the past few years. Yeah. And to an extent, he says like, I get it, because everything that's happening right now, you're feeling attacked, right? Because he's Jewish, his wife is Jewish, he was in the IDF, like feeling uncomfortable, feeling not safe because of things that people have said and done to them, right? And so they're like lashing out. And so he's like, I understand.
Sorry to interrupt, but we should also say like, well, at least I've noticed like, there seems to be people that think that because H3, they don't like H3, or even if they think H3 is in the wrong, it gives them an excuse to be anti-Semitic. Like, there's like no fucking excuses for that, or like in any sense. Like, if you have your quarrels of H3, it doesn't mean that you have to then take that and use that to completely attack a group of people. Like, it's like, I feel dumb even having to say that, but like, it's very weird how somebody's. Again, I'm not saying everyone is doing that, but I have gone on Twitter and seen a lot of posts of where people are just like, it's like kind of crazy how like right now, like we are, especially on social media right now, it feels like people are being more and more comfortable with being anti-Semitic and hijacking very valid like movements, but then using that as a way to like, I see people like outright just being, I don't even want to say certain phrases in case we get flagged, but you know, like I think everyone knows what I'm talking about. You can go on Twitter right now and it's a fucking diabolical cesspool. So I just want to say that if you're going to come to our comment section and think you can do that, you're just going to get blocked straight away. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, but like with the content cop, it felt like someone that was seeing their past friend, you know, maybe they don't consider them friends anymore, but like past friend going down a road that they felt wasn't the best. And I mean, you know, of course, there's always going to be arguments that you can make against, like, oh, well, iDub should have done this. And like, I thought it was interesting. A big part was like, basically, he was saying that it was frustrating because Ethan was like, why aren't you defending me? Why aren't you defending me? Basically, like, but he was saying this publicly, right? Being like, iDub should be defending me, blah, blah. And he's like, I didn't have a strong opinion and I was just trying to see what was going to happen. And then it felt like I was being forced into this, right? Because I wasn't saying anything. It was like, if you don't say anything, that means that you're condoning that. When in reality, he was like, I just wanted to stay out of it, which I think is understandable, right?
It's tough. And I personally, and maybe you have as well, have like witnessed my friends in the past get involved in drama that I'm not involved in. And I've said nothing and I've held my opinions, but it is just a case of like, I have people that I don't want to get involved, honestly. Like, I don't want to get involved in certain situations. And it's like, sometimes people will be like, well, why are you not talking about this? Why are you not talking? I don't need to give my opinion on everything. It might be ironic from two people that give their opinions for a living, but like, we don't need to give our opinions on everything. And I think the same does go for people like iDubbbz. And from what I could see from the bit that I got through into the content cop, it didn't feel that he really had much attachment. I know he had a former editor, but the keyword is former. I don't know if I'm missing anything, but then again, you could then say, well, why is he making the video? Did it need to be a video? And again, I do remember seeing the clip of H3, like he when he's live and he sees that the content cop's dropped, and he, like, even he was shocked. Like I mean, I remember, I think it was Wavy Web Surf made a post being like, there's absolutely no way the content, and it's like
didn't age well.
But like I think like the post at the time was like valid because I don't think anyone really expected that. But like, bro, H3 and iDubbbz genuinely made my favorite YouTube video of all time. The Logan Paul colorblind video. One of the funniest.
So funny.
So funny, bro. And it's like, it's what I'm saying, like, why I find it very uncomfortable is like, I don't want to witness these two fight. The Hassan thing, like, again, like, he was relatively close to Ethan at one point, but it's like, it just feels that like a lot of people's falling outs have kind of boiled up into this big fucking mess. And it's like, it's there is no right answer. I feel like both sides have I'm not trying to fence it here, obviously, but like from what my limited knowledge of the situation is like, I don't think this should be public. I really don't. I guess you could say that about any drama, to be fair, but realistically, it just seems that like, I saw some comments being like, I'm glad that I'm no longer chronicling online to know the deep lore of all of this sort of thing, something on those lines. And it's like, yeah, because this isn't a regular bit of YouTube drama. This is like people have just fallen out over some very like hostile things. And it's like, should this have just been done behind closed doors? I personally think so.
Yeah. And that's like, it's kind of how I feel. Is I think that this is the overarching thing, right? Israel versus Palestine and all that stuff is like, that's not drama, right? That's a genocide that is 100%, happening. And I think that that's why this feels weird. It feels frustrating for me when I see someone make a genuine criticism, maybe to Ethan, right? Like I'll focus on Ethan, right? when someone makes a genuine criticism like iDubbbz or whoever, and then it's automatically turned into you're being anti-Semitic, you're being this, because it's like, I think that there can be someone that has a genuine criticism that is being levied at Ethan and Hila, right? Yes, they are Jewish, but it has nothing to do with the fact that they are Jewish.
Yeah.
Right. And the thing that frustrates me is it feels like sometimes Ethan can't separate. Either it can't, or, and this would be worse in my opinion, he chooses not to because it's easy to use that as a shield. Like, I am Jewish and therefore you are being anti-Semitic. And so I am going to use that as a way to deflect any real criticism instead of it being introspective, right? I hope that's not what's happening. I would hope that it's more just everything that's going on with him. He is so frazzled that any sort of someone disagreeing or attacking him or just saying something at him, he feels like it's all the same, right? And like it's not a conscious choice to like use that as a deflection. Do you get what I'm saying? I
do. I do think that obviously, as you mentioned, him and his wife are both Jewish. His children are Jewish, and I think that naturally they are going to be more defensive than like again, people will say, well, they, Israel shouldn't exist and they should feel uncomfortable. But like, I think like you have to understand from an empathetic point of view, like it is like you need to understand why they would feel uncomfortable. I'm not saying you need to like agree with them, but like I think like I can understand with some of the things said towards him, sending skulls to him and like other stuff like that. Not just that recent stuff though, but he very much has had years and years of anti-Semitic things driven towards him. So I'm trying to like understand like why he would act in certain ways. And I definitely think like on the side that criticizing him, there has been a lot of bad things done. But at the same time, I agree with you. I think that in a lot of cases, it very much seems that it's almost like he's, in some arguments, like disingenuous from what I've seen. I feel a bit uncomfortable commenting because I don't know the full story. Maybe I shouldn't, but it's understand. Like, I think for me, the main issue is, I think why I'm so uncomfortable is because the genocide happening in Palestine right now is one of the most horrific things that's ever happened in history. And I think the fact that it's led to YouTube drama is, I don't know. I just don't feel comfortable in that. Like it feels weird. Like I saw a tweet being like the other day, it's like, it was something like, yeah, I'm sure the child in Palestine who's like had their home destroyed is so grateful that there's this drama about this whole horrific event, which has turned into two like former friends squabbling. And it's like, I think again, there is like, that is a valid point of like, should this really be so public? And again, it's like, it's so impossible because it's like, well, you're just going to talk about nothing because there's bad things going on. But the whole thing does stem from this bad thing. And I don't know, man. Like overall, it's kind of hard to give a full opinion on when I haven't really watched the entire content cop. And maybe I'll get criticism for that. But I think the main reason I haven't watched it is because I have felt so uncomfortable about this drama stemming from an actual genocide. I think that it almost steers away the conversation of a very bad conversation that needs to happen, and almost blurs the lines a little bit, if you get what I'm saying. Yeah.
And I totally understand where you're coming from. And like, it's like, I try not to talk about stuff that I don't know about too much. And like, I think I do feel kind of bummed for Ethan and Hila, but like, especially for Ethan, because I feel like he's been pretty open to an extent about him like kind of changing his views and things. He's gone from this kind of person to this kind of person over time, and like he's shared that he's been trying to change. And I think like it's a fair criticism that he's frustrated because he feels like, if we're talking about politics, right, the people on the left, it's like he'll never be good enough. The purity test he'll never be the most pure leftist, right? And that's like frustrating to him. And I can understand being frustrated with that, right? Because I've dealt with similar kind, not to this extent by any means, but similar kind of like criticisms, right? And so like I feel for him. It feels like a really crappy situation. I think like I don't think this will ever happen, but I think the best thing would be to log off and like just take some time away. But I just don't see that happening basically based on the fact that this is a business for him. He has a lot of other people that kind of depend on him, right? All the people that work on the podcast. And I think this might sound like criticism, but just like ego wise, I just don't think that he can do that right now. I think it's like he feels like he's in the middle of this thing and he has to almost finish it, right? And I don't see that ever actually happening, you know?
I think after the content cop dropped, it's almost impossible because now it has, like, that's like a, it's like the war has begun. Like there's no turning back. Like it, like, and like you can't really blame him for combating against it because, like, what is he just going to bow down and say sorry? Like we know that's not going to happen. And if the same if he. Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say Hassan didn't watch his content cop, and that's what he maybe even could have done. But like, we know like H3 was not going to be silent on this, and I'm not saying he should have, because it is a very sensitive time right now. Like it's like I go on Twitter and I see like horrific things said on both sides, but there's one like people just saying like, wishing death on him and his family, saying
that's too far.
Yeah, of course. Like I've had friends that were born in Israel. They no longer live there, but I've like had friends like who are Israeli, and I see like tweets online being like, you shouldn't treat these people like human. Like word for word, I saw a tweet the other day being like, you shouldn't treat these people like they're human beings. Like it's not their fault that they were born into an occupation where like they weren't alive when that happened. Like it's not their fault. And it's such a complicated issue. And I think the problem is with social media is when people like to have an A and a B, and it immediately just like that leads to so much dehumanization. My views on it are, I think that obviously Palestine needs to be freed. I think what Israel is doing is absolutely disgusting, and Netanyahu needs to be arrested and put in prison for being a war criminal, one of the worst war criminals in human history. And yeah, I think anyone who says that it isn't a genocide, what's happening there, is lying to themselves. And I think that that's not the complex thing, by the way. Like, it's very simple to have a base understanding of what's going on there. You don't need to be a political analyst to see children being bombed every day, children being murdered every day, men and women being killed every day. And you don't need to be an expert to see that and think that is a horrific thing. Absolutely. The complex part, there is a lot of complexities on in the history of all of it and stuff like that. But realistically, you don't even need to know that to have an opinion of, yes, what's happening in Palestine is objectively disgusting, terrible, and is a genocide. And I just want to say, like, fundamentally, my standoffish takes around the content cop should not be construed with my takes about Palestine. I fundamentally am very vocal about Palestine, and I always will be. Just wanted to clarify that there. Just with the content cop thing, the reason that I'm a bit standoffish is because it makes me uncomfortable, and I don't know enough about it, realistically. I haven't sat through every single stream. I tried to watch some of the coverage, but I'm going to be real. I was saying to you before this podcast came out, I've just been so out of the loop recently, just been like a bit brain rotted and everything. So it's just been it's not really been at my top of my interest to watch iDubbbz, Hassan, and H3 beef.
It's not really fun beef, right? And it's like, and so it's just like it's kind of heavy. But I think, like, we can kind of end it here and move on for sure, because I again, it's like two dudes just kind of like, that don't have a dog in the race. But I think that it's like you can separate the H3 and Hassan drama from Palestine and Israel, right? H3 does not represent all of Israel, just like Hassan does not represent all of Palestine. These are two people that this drama is separate from that. And I think, like, the reason it feels weird is because it feels hard to separate those things. Yes. But I think it's okay to be like, these are separate things. Like, maybe they have these strong stances on certain things that are happening over there, but like they are still separate entities from the stuff that's going on, right?
I think you've nailed it.
That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, I think you've absolutely nailed it. I think that is what has been making me uncomfortable, in the sense of it feels like if you're not on Team H3 or Team Hassan, it almost like feels that social media is immediately being like, well, you're not pro-Palestinian and you're pro-genocide. Like, no, these are two multi-millionaire figures who are who have social media platforms that are gigantic, and you can agree with their opinions, but they do not represent what is going on in Gaza. They don't. And I think that's why I think you should be vocal about what is going on there. But just because you don't want to have an opinion on, or you don't want not have an opinion, but just because you don't really care about the content. It sounds so stupid to say. Oh, I'm sorry guys, I don't really care about the content cop, because I really don't. Like, I'm being honest. Like, it's, as you said, it's not really entertaining. It's not really funny. I don't really have like a a dog in the race, like as you said. Like it's like with the Ash Trevino stuff that I've covered recently, I find that funny. I've been covering it for a while, so I have interest in it. And other stuff like, and there's some, we're going to speak about some stuff today, which I actually have interest in. We're going to speak about the Clara Dao situation, which I have interest in, you have interest in, because of like, it's there's stuff to do with the body positive movement, and we have interest in that, and we've spoken about before. But the content cop, I don't know, man. For me, it just felt a bit too much. Like it was too. It felt, and maybe it's because I both really enjoyed them at one point. I just felt like I was watching my parents divorce again.
Yeah, I feel that. Okay, so switching gears before we get into the Clara Dao stuff, I have a question for you. How excited are you for the Switch 2?
Yes,
and just like overall thoughts on what you know so far. Like say if you could, I don't know if you wanted this, but if you were to rate your excitement before any information came out, and then where is that now? Is it higher, lower? Kind of where are you sitting?
So my anticipation before the Switch 2 was like, I think it was like a 7 out of 10. Like I was hyped, but I wasn't like over the moon, like this is going to be the best thing ever. Then the reveal happens, the initial one in February. I think we've already spoken about that before. And it was like, cool, like it looks great. It just looks like a bigger Switch. Then we saw the actual reveal earlier this month.
Yeah, because in February they didn't. It was just like, this is what it looks like.
Yeah, because the leakers were like everywhere, and they were like, we gotta get ahead of this shit. And so then they did the reveal this month, and honestly, bro, I was actually kind of blown away. I thought like this shit is like clearly the best Nintendo console they've ever done. It felt like for the first time in my life, Nintendo have actually tried to be next gen. Like they're trying to they're not on the level of the PS5 and Xbox Series X, but it's a portable console at the end of the day. And the screen looks gorgeous. Like it doesn't have an OLED screen, and that initially
I thought that was interesting.
That's
weird that they did that.
That initially annoyed me and upset me, but it's after all the stuff that's come out recently, it's clear that the new screen is better than the OLED on the Switch OLED, and that's because LCD screens have just improved monumentally over the last 10 years. I've seen the gameplay. It looks better than the Steam Deck, which I'm very happy about. I'm a big portable gamer guy, and I've missed out on so many Nintendo games just because I can't play at a bad frame rate. It just fucking jars me. So like to see like it might sound like very like not like I don't have high expectations, but just to see Nintendo games at 60 FPS or 120 FPS, I didn't expect 4K gaming on Nintendo like ever. So that was like so sick to see. And then obviously, so I was very, very excited. And I'll be real, with the price of the Switch 2, I was expecting like on the $450, like the $450. I expected that. I was like,
so you're not surprised by that.
With the price of the console, I was not surprised. I was like, I think that's a fair price. The hardware's really good. They're working close with NVIDIA. It looks like it's a beast of a machine. It's got GameCube compatibility. The games genuinely look good. So I was like, you know what? I can accept them being a bit higher price on this. It's not as high as the PS5, so I can take that. Then the game prices came out. Yeah, that's crazy. There's no justification for the price of these Nintendo games. Like Mario Kart World being $80 is just what is it? 80?
It just seems unnecessary, man. Like what is the reason other than just to prime people to be used to that? And I just really hope that it's not like everyone's like, well, Nintendo did it, so I just hope that.
Well, yeah, I saw like obviously when Bethesda released the Elder Scrolls Oblivion remaster yesterday, I was fully expecting $70, and to see a $50 price on a new, I mean, I know it's a remaster, but it's basically a new game. To see a $50 price on a game in 2025, I was like, bro, that. I mean, the game was released in 2006, and it's got a 2006 price, so that was very nice to see. And then I saw another top game came out, and that was $70. So like it's still expensive. Like gaming used to be such a casual hobby. Like I don't know if I'm misremembering stuff, bro, but I swear to God, I remember. But like I'll just say 40. I'll speak in dollars. But like I remember buying games when I was younger for like $40. I swear to God. Am I wrong in that? I swear games used to be so much cheaper.
I think some of them were. I've seen like it's actually interesting because game prices haven't changed much from like I was looking at there was like a it was like online, but it was like old pamphlets from like Game Crazy. You guys probably didn't have that there, but like GameStop, right? It was very similar to GameStop, but it was inside of Hollywood Video.
Yeah.
And or like KB Toys or anywhere, right, that had games. And a lot of the games were $50, $60, even in like early 2000s, 90s. And so I guess it's nice that games haven't gone up in price, but it still just doesn't feel right, man. Like $80 as the base price, because there's going to be DLC, there's going to be, probably like, especially with a lot of games, like I think of Monster Hunter, that's what I've been addicted to, right? I got it for $70, which was the base price, but there was, of course, the collector's edition was $90, right? And so like imagine if you start at $80 and then it's just going to be, you're going to pay $100 for a game, like that's
crazy,
gnarly,
bro.
man. It's gnarly. And then the whole, like, I know there's the drama about like the $10 game that should have just been like bundled in.
Bro, like Nintendo is such a weird company, man. Like there's a part of me like they came out and explained Nintendo, they put value on hard work and like they have real people working on real games. They've had a staunch view against AI generated stuff, and they want to make their money and pay their employees correctly. And I get that, I do. But I have seen those Nintendo Switch sales. I have seen how well Nintendo have been doing for the last 8 years. They do not need to charge an extra $10 on their games. And it's just the beginning, because GTA 6 is going to come out. That shit's going to be $100. And the market is... How long can it last? Like, realistically, in this market, how long can these games companies keep on, like, fucking absorbing their like consumers' wallets? Like it can't go on forever, surely. Like there's got to be a moment where people are like, I can't afford this shit, bro. Like GTA, everyone's gonna buy GTA. That's like that's an event. That's a life event. We all remember when GTA 5 came out. I even remember when GTA 4 came out. So that's a different. But like, you're telling me Mario Kart World is really worth $80? Like, yes. I'm going to get people in the comment section being like, well, I played Mario Kart for 400 hours. That's great. I've got 500 hours or something like that on Elden Ring. Bought that game for like $50, $60. And I think like that's a fair price, But to some people, maybe it's not. Like objectively, why is a game $80? Like it just feels uncomfortable. I don't know, man. And I think honestly, what we're going to see is graphics have plateaued now. Like there's no graphics can't keep on improving really. Like you've got your nice lighting and ray tracing, but you don't want human realistic graphics. Like nobody wants that. You like your nice art styles and stuff like that. So like I think what we're going to see is more and more people are just going to be like, you know what? I'm comfy with my PS4 and my old games. I'm just like there's so many games now, bro. Like if they just stopped making games, you're still going to have a lifetime of games to go through and probably be entertained. Like there's no need to keep on making games. Obviously that they should and they are, but like I think it will get to a point where people just can't afford it. Like Sony right now have an issue of where they can't get people off the PS4. Like the PS5 is only now having a real uptick in sales, and that's 5 years of their generation, and that just comes from what's the need to spend £500 or dollars on a new console? Like, what's the need? And I think, honestly, the Switch might have that issue of, like, the average consumer or the average Switch player doesn't really care about 120 FPS 4K. They just want to play Animal Crossing. They just want to play Mario Kart. So if they can just carry on playing Mario Kart 8 on their Switch 1, they're probably going to. I think the Switch 2 over the long term will be very successful. Probably not as successful as the original, but yeah, it's a shame because I'm super fucking excited. Like most excited I've ever been for a console. And it's the first console I've bought day one since the 3DS, which funnily enough had a fucking terrible launch because the 3DS came out. 3DS came out at $250, I believe, and that was expensive back then. And I remember I saved up all my pocket money. I had a paper round that I saved up all. I would have been at 14, so I saved up all my money, and I remember going into the shop, buying the 3DS. Didn't pre-order it; it was available, funnily enough, because nobody was buying it. And I got home, there weren't any fucking games, bro. Like I had a 3DS, but there were no games, and that was like such a big issue as well. And eventually, I think they like dropped the price of the 3DS by like 40% or something. And then because of that, it went on to be one of their best selling consoles. Yeah. And it feels like Nintendo do this thing of where they're doing horrifically, like awful. Microsoft are like looming over them. Yeah. The Wii U collapsed. It was terrible. The console was fine, but like nobody really knew what it was.
Well,
so
it just felt like, oh, it's like an add-on.
Yeah, that's what I thought when I was like, when I was 16, I thought the same. And like, it did terribly, like 7 million or something units sold. Nintendo are in a crisis. Like the only thing they've got is the 3DS. It's keeping them on life support. Microsoft are like looming over them. Maybe we can have an acquisition here. And then they released the Switch. It's the saving grace. They released Breath of the Wild from the Wii U onto the Switch. They have Mario Odyssey, shit's cushy. They're making millions and millions. Nintendo are back on the map.
Those are like the 2 games I've played on Switch.
yeah. Pokemon then has a resurgence. Pokemon Sword and Shield is massive.
Played that one. Yep.
Yeah. Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes do come out. They're huge.
Arceus, I played that one too.
Arceus was awesome. Pokemon is the biggest it's been since the 90s. Like, they're doing amazing. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you've got all this money. The thing you could do to be even more fucking cool is to reward your consumers, saying thank you. Thank you for making our company not fucking collapse. But no, they just fucking shit on their consumer base. And it's just sad, man. Like, Nintendo, and it's like I saw a good video speaking about the Wii U when it was doing terrible. Nintendo were like really desperate. So they kept on like giving their like consumers like free things, cheap things, deals and everything. And it's funny to witness a company when they're desperate because they'll do the opposite. And you're like, there's a part of me that wants the Switch 2 to fail, so they slash prices and slowly go into that desperation phase. But I also kind of hope it does well because I want good games on it. Obviously,
I don't see it failing. I think like it's funny because hearing what you were saying about the PS4 and the PS5, that's definitely true, 100%. I think. Like the jump from PS4 to PS5, while I'm sure it's significant comparatively from the PS3 to the PS4, or is even especially the PS2 to the PS3, right?
Yes.
Like those were humongous jumps, right? And it almost like, I'm not sure if this was intentional with Nintendo, but you know, the Switch has been out, I think it was 2016 when it came out,
2017,
right?
Yeah.
2017.
It was revealed in 2016, so.
Oh, okay, that's what it is. And so it's been out for, you know, by the time the Switch 2 comes out, it'll be close to like 9 years, you know, whatever. It's a really long time, right? And on top of it, when the Switch came out, people were saying, this is not that strong. It was already, people were like, this is underpowered. Like, why didn't they release something that was, you know, stronger, right? And so there is, I think, a pretty significant jump from the Switch to the Switch 2 that will, I think, encourage people to be like, okay, I see enough of a difference. You know, if we're thinking about the same person that's PS4 to PS5 and they're like, you know what? Not a big enough difference. And it's crazy now, side note, they are raising the price of the PS5 in a lot of places right now. That is, dude, it's been 5 years since the console's gone out. I remember when I was younger, my mom and, you know, we would always say, well, we can't get it right away, but we'll wait until the price goes up. That's how it always happened with game systems, right? And so the fact that it's 5 years later and it's got more expensive.
If you bought your PS5 in 2020, that shit's an investment. That's money. I've got a disc PS5. That shit's going to be worth a lot of money.
Too, dude. So like, it's so interesting. But I think that maybe that person that went PS4, PS5, I'm fine, right? Versus Switch 1, Switch 2. Oh, there's a lot of, you know, benefits here, especially like someone like me. I have the original Switch, like one of the first ones. You know, I got it not right when it came out, but it was before the light was out, before the OLED was out. You know, long time ago.
Shit loads up, and it's like an airplane taking off.
Dude, it is. I don't like playing the Switch. Like especially because the majority of time I play it is like in the handheld mode.
Is it too small for your hands?
I mean, I have pretty small hands, if I'm being completely honest. It's just, I don't know. It's just not very comfortable. Like, I tried to play Monster Hunter Rise, and that made me feel like, I was like, oh, I guess I just don't like Monster Hunter games, which is absolutely not true because I put in so much time to the new one, Monster Hunter Wilds. I think a big part of it was just playing on the Switch. It just was not enjoyable for me because I had to play it on the Switch. I couldn't really play it on the TV. I just didn't have access.
Was
really.
it like a screen or controller issue?
A little bit of both, like controls, but then the screen was small.
These things here, see this?
Yeah, those are the Hori pads, right?
Yeah, I've played on my Switch with these because like the actual, I hate the Joy-Cons.
Dude,
they're very uncomfortable. And that's why I'm particularly excited about the Switch 2 because they're actually bigger. And I don't really have big hands, but it just seems a bit too small. Like I don't know. Like the Steam Deck, I like it because it's bulky and it fits nicer in my hand. And I've seen people with small hands now complaining that the Switch 2 is actually too bulky. And I'm like, well, that's good for me because that's my main issue. Like,
you'll be fine.
Yeah. You guys can deal with it.
You'll be fine. We've dealt with the cramps for long enough in our hands. But yeah, so it's interesting. Like I think okay, if I'm just, again, this is just obviously someone that doesn't know that much about stuff, but like if I were to make a guess, I think I don't see the Switch 2 selling as much as the Switch 1.
Yeah.
That's not me saying it will fail, but that's just the Switch 1 is so unbelievably huge, right? Like, but who knows? Maybe if they release like a Switch 2 Lite that ends up, drastically slicing the price, which a lot of what I think the original Switch Lite did, it could eventually garner a lot of people. But when I first heard, I was surprised with the 450, but I think because in my mind, Switches are $200, right? But that's only really the Switch Lite, I think, is only that much right now.
I think the Switch Lite is a really awesome thing, to be honest.
Yeah,
100%. Because like gaming, like I want to show you something in a minute. Actually, I'll just show you now.
Yeah, show me. I want to see.
So when I was I'm talking to consoles. The other podcast, we were like listing all the consoles that I own, and we basically concluded that I own every fucking console on the planet. I was in Japan, right, and they've got these things called book-offs where they're like giant warehouses where they sell loads of secondhand things. Like think of anything like Pokemon cards, clothing, books, comics, retro video games, like to the point of like 1970s level retro video games, like just everything on the planet you can think of, they have it. And I was walking through the retro video game section and I saw something and I was like, my collection is incomplete. And I was like,
this.
In the name of the podcast, in the name of the podcast to the tax man, I may have business expense this just because I haven't even touched this thing, by the way, since I bought it. I just bought it to show you that I've finally completed the collection of all the things of modern consoles. I have bought a PlayStation Vita, a PlayStation Vita 2000. I saw it and I was like, I have to get that shit. Like, and honestly, bro, this thing, I haven't played it much of it yet because I've been playing other things, but like, it fits really nicely into your hand. And I was like, I've got to get this because of the last episode. I've just got to do it, man. Because I was like, we were showing how like insane I am when it comes to buying things, and you know me, I love a good portable console. Yeah, dude. No, that's awesome, man. Like when I think of, because I had the PSP, right, which was I don't even know how my mom was able to swing getting it for me. I think maybe it was like a tax, like a refund kind of thing. Yeah. But dude, I love that thing so much. It was so much fun, and so I never had the Vita, and so. Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Yeah, I think what I'm gonna do with it is, so I've done some things. Modding? No, surely not. No, I've modded it in legal ways. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna basically turn it into like a Game Boy Advance emulator, so and stuff like that. I'm just gonna put a lot of old games on it, like Pokemon Emerald and stuff like that. Maybe some ROM hacks and stuff. I just saw it. I was like, I also in the UK, it's like they're like, because they're not made anymore, they're quite expensive. It was like £200 in the UK, which is like, I don't know, like $230. In Japan, it was like $60. And I was like, oh wow, bro, I gotta get that shit. It's basically free at that point. Oh yeah. That was my problem in Japan. Obviously their economy, but the currency is weaker than the pound. So I was like walking around like a king, man. I was like just buying shit that I don't need. And one thing I found with we will go back to the console discussion in a second. One thing I felt guilty to there is like grabber machines in like arcades and stuff. Yeah. You know how they just don't work in America or in the UK? They're obviously all scams. They fucking work in Japan. Like I won like 6 giant Pokemon plushies, and I somehow got them home. I won like a Cyndaquil.
How did you get those home?
One of them's up. I don't know if you can see it up there. I bought. I got a shiny giant fucking Rayquaza, and I don't even know what's happened. I became addicted to these machines. Like my girlfriend was just being like, "You've got to stop. You've got to stop putting all our money into these machines." I was like, 5 more times, man. 5 more times. And like we'd be like 30,000 steps walking around like Kyoto, Osaka, and I'll see one of these like little arcades where they're in, and I'm like, let me cook.
Yeah.
And so that I very much became a big consumer when I was out there, but the Vita was the biggest purchase.
That's nice, dude. Well, congrats on that. But so going back to the Switch 2, right?
Yeah,
so
200.
now level, like, you were a 7. Now, where do you feel that you are now that you have a lot more of the information? That you know how much games are probably going to be. Does that affect your score, or just kind of where are you sitting now?
I'm gonna be real. I think it's like a 10. Like I think 10 out of 10 excitement. I hyperfixate so fucking bad, and I've realized it over the last I did not care for the Elder Scrolls. I've never played an Elder Scrolls game in my life. And I picked up on the Oblivion rumors like 3 weeks ago, and I just started watching every video about Oblivion, man. And I was like, this is fucking awesome. I've never even played this game. I'm so excited for the Shadow Drop by Bethesda. And then I was like, I was asking my partner about. I was like, do you think they're gonna drop like Oblivion tomorrow? And she's like, the fuck's Oblivion? And it's like, so the Elder Scrolls took over my hyperfixation, and then it came out yesterday, and I'll be real, how many hours have I put into it in the space of a day? This is when I realized I was old. I've put 4 hours into it, and it was like, I was like, if I was 16, I would put so many hours into this game, but I just can't. The thing is, I've not really done anything productive today, so I could have, but it's just the guilt in my mind saying you can't do that. But now I've got it and I've been playing it. It's really good. The excitement is back on the Switch, and I'm like genuinely counting the days like it's Christmas. Like every day it's like 20. The Bethesda thing helped because it kind of like stopped me thinking about it as much. But now I've got my hyperfixation fixed. Now I need another.
No, I get it.
But I am genuinely really excited. Like I'm hyped to play. I do actually really enjoy Mario Kart, so I bought that in the bundle, which saved like. I think it was like if you buy it in the bundle, it technically only costs $30, which is pretty nice.
Like that, yeah.
And then I'm the weird thing I'm more hyped for is to take all of the terribly ran games on the Switch and run them on the Switch too. Like I want to see what Pokemon Scarlet and Violet looks like at 60 FPS because I still can't believe to this day that those games exist in the state that they do. Like that's embarrassing. And those games also cost like $70.
Or like Tears of the Kingdom, right? Like I'm curious.
I've never played. Yeah, I've played Breath of the Wild for like 20 minutes, but I don't know. The frame rate was just kind of sucky, so I was like, I'll wait. I'll put this down. So yeah, I will definitely play Breath of the Wild. I've never. The only Zelda game I've ever complete is Twilight Princess when I was a kid. I really like that game, but I've never gone through into the Breath of the Wild games.
No, I haven't finished Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. Basically, I got through both of like 70% of both of them, and then I ended up kind of like falling off because with those games, there's a lot of like systems, and it's one of those games that if you kind of like stop playing for a while, it's really hard to just get back into it and like remember how to do everything, and that's what happened with both of them. But funny story, I don't think I've ever actually beaten a full Zelda game.
Really?
But yeah, I think maybe one actually. And it was the Minish Cap, which funny story because you were talking about when you got the 3DS, right? I had the original DS, and
was it the big fat gray one? Because I also had
fat gray
one.
Yes.
Dude, I had that too, man.
Yeah, and it had basically like no games on it, right? And so I ended up getting a Game Boy Advance game that ran on it, which was the Minish Cap. And so I think that I'm not sure if I even beat that. I really don't remember. It was such a long time ago. I was probably like 9 or 10 or something. I don't know.
It's such like a new console thing to like get the new console and be like, I'm gonna play games from the old system.
Yeah.
I think that's why the Nintendo Wii was so successful, because they gave you fucking Wii Sports for free, and that shit was like,
dude,
Wii Sports was like awesome because like personal stories like I'm not gonna go into detail, but there was like I got a Wii. I don't know how my dad afforded it, because we were like, this is like after divorce, everyone was fucking broke and shit, and it was after the financial crisis. But he got me a Wii, and we had Wii Sports, and like I remember it was a really bad Christmas, like some bad family things happened, and we ended up at my brother's, and my dad also ended up there, and just we were sleeping there on Christmas Day just because a load of bad shit happened. And I remember we just got the Wii out and just played Wii Sports like all night on Christmas Day, and it was like such like a good core memory, and like that game was so fun, and it was so basic, but like this is what I'm going back to in terms of like rewarding your consumers. Like you should, I think, you should come, like your console should come with like a little game, just a little like test game, which is free. I think like if you bought that $450 Switch 2, that shitty little game that they've developed where you're in the Switch, that should be free. Like let people
like Astro's Playroom was free for the PS5, you know, and that was really cool. Like it helped me like learn how to use this thing, and like I mean, not that I needed to learn how to use it, but I was like, oh, that's cool.
Get used to it.
The triggers, you can feel like the, you know, and oh wow, you can feel the rumble and each thumb, you know, it was just like cool little things that it taught you, you know, and it's just 100%. Lame that they're charging for that now. It just seems unnecessary, you know. Yeah,
it's such a shame because like I feel like what they've made is what everyone was asking for, but they've just tainted it with everything outside of it. And I also feel like their delivering of information has just been generally quite poor. Like a lot of the reasons people are mad about the Switch 2 in a lot of cases has been like over disinformation that isn't even true. But it's only come from the fact that Nintendo has put out so much vague information and done just weird things of where like all they need to do is just make a tweet clarifying on a few things and help people understand some certain things here and there, and things would be a million times better for them. But they just fucking don't. But yeah, overall, I'm excited. Are you gonna get it?
So yeah, the way that I feel about it is I'm excited to learn more about it. I'm excited for people to get it and learn more about it, right? Because like from what we've learned, it's been very like, you know, very specific. People have gone to these events that they were only able to play games for like 2-3 hours or something like that. And then maybe another day. And like in total, it was like 4 hours that you had on the system and stuff. So I'm excited for people to get it in hand and like watch those videos. I know it sounds weird, but I'm excited to watch the videos of people that get them first. Yeah. I'm not super stoked as far as like, oh, I want to deal with, because especially in the US, it's a whole thing trying to get one, I think. But it's like I'm not that like, I'm not like, oh man, I want to pre-order it. I really don't care that much about that because I have, you know, so many other things to play, the PC and all that stuff. But I am excited. I'm excited for people that are excited about it, like for you and like other people that are like really huge Nintendo fans. Like there's a guy that I follow on YouTube that I watch a good amount of his videos. His name's Arlo. He's like this.
I think
he's like this blue puppet monster.
Yeah, I'm subscribed to him. Yeah.
And he like, I'm always like excited because he seems like a pretty big Nintendo fan, and he, you know, like seems like to be, you know, relatively excited. I mean, he has his own reservations as well as other people that you know, Nintendo YouTubers, I guess you can kind of consider them. I'm excited for them, you know, to have content, honestly, and like for me to watch stuff. And so like the way that I see it, like obviously if like, you know, I had the option and someone was like, oh, here, Switch 2, I'd be like, okay, cool, yeah, thanks. I'd love that, right? But as far as like spending the money on it right now, it's not really something that I'm like too worried about. And especially I'm not like, if it requires any more effort than go to store, pick it up, I don't care that much. You know what I mean? Once we get to that point, maybe, you know, but I am excited. Like it seems like from what I've seen, the upgrades and the things that it's going to be able to do is more than I was expecting as well. Not that I was really, you know, thinking too much about it, if I'm being honest, like as far as the Switch is concerned, but I'm excited just for there to be more, you know, kind of players in the game. Yeah. I know that Xbox is talking about releasing a portable console, but I don't know. I feel like that might just be basically like one of the already out Microsoft kind of console. That's the thing. That's an Xbox logo slapped on it, you know? Portable
gaming right now, it's definitely gotten a lot bigger, but like right now, portable gaming is just big PC in hand. That's great. Like I like my Steam Deck, but that's a bit different because it's actually on Steam. But I think a lot of people like the Switch because you see a lot of Steam Deck people being like, just get a Steam Deck. And it's like, well, I think the people that like Steam Deck are very different to the people that like the Switch. Like they want to play their exclusives. The Switch is lighter, it's comfier, it looks nicer.
Well, yeah, dude. If I tried to get my girlfriend a Steam Deck,
no.
I got her a Switch Lite, and she was very excited, and she has plenty of games that she plays on it, right?
I think she, I said before, the Switch Lite is like probably one of the best things they've done, like for a while, because it's like, as that's why we got into the Vita conversation. Actually, going back to that, it's like actually portable. Like portable gaming isn't portable, but the Switch 2, you actually can probably fit it into like a little bag or a pocket, whereas like. Ain't nobody is fucking putting a Steam Deck in their pocket or some shit. You need some big ass cargo trousers like for that.
This big, it's large.
Yeah. Although I have, we will move on to our actual topic in a minute, by the way, guys. But I have been playing on my Steam Deck a lot recently. Do you want to know the game I've been playing?
What?
It's like, it's so out of the games I usually play. I've been playing Persona 5, bro.
Oh,
and like
nice.
I've become one of those guys. And I was like, I remember seeing Persona being like a video game where it's basically like a fucking school life simulator. But it's so addicting. I don't even know why. I'm just like walking around Tokyo and just like chat. Maybe it's because I got mad like missing Japan, but like I'm just like it's weirdly addicting. I'm like I'm enjoying Oblivion, but it's like a nagging thought in the back of my mind. I was like, I want to play Persona, and I'm like, oh god, I'm becoming like a weeaboo, man.
Dude, that's my issue with games is like I cannot play more than one. Like if I'm playing a game, I'm playing that game. That's why like with Monster Hunter right now, I can't play anything else because I know if I start playing something else, I'm gonna stop playing Monster Hunter, and I don't want to stop. Yeah, I don't want to stop playing Monster Hunter right now. So it's just like I see been a ton of games that have come out that I'm interested in. Like there's with this one. I think it's called The First Berserker Kazan. Yeah. I played the demo to that, but I was just like, if I really want to play it, I'll get it later and maybe it'll be a little bit cheaper because I'm like with Monster Hunter, especially because I mean, it's a game as service kind of thing, right? There's like updates and like you want to stay on, you want to stay on par with everyone and blah, 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 right? Maybe that's, maybe I'm falling into the trap as they keep you kind of staying with the game. But it's been fun because I've kind of found a community of people that are also playing it. And so I can always hop on and play with them and like, just like, but yeah, like I get very like, if I'm playing a game, I'm playing that game. And then once I start playing another game, I'm not playing that other game anymore. Like,
do you ever get into that spot of where like you want to play a game, but you also want to play another game and your mind kind of like, fuck, I don't know what to do. And you just don't play any game.
Don't play anything.
Yeah. I do that with so much of like everything. And as I said, I think it's like an ADHD thing of like, it happens in so much, like even with like videos, there's a topic I want to cover, but there's another topic I want to cover, and I end up just doing nothing. But yeah, that happens quite a lot. And so right now I'm enjoying Oblivion, but I am kind of like, go back to Persona, play that, and then come back to Oblivion. But I'm also like, well, you've been watching a million Oblivion videos, man. Like, just play fucking Oblivion. So, and again, it's the ADHD thing of like, I can't do both, and I kind of wish I could, but they're also both very big games, so it's kind of hard to commit to two big open world games.
And Persona, people always talk about how like insanely long it takes to play that game,
like 150 hours or some ridiculous shit. Like that's crazy, but I can see it. And the way I'm like, let's see how many hours I've got. So I started Persona last week, and I'm not somebody that just sits and plays games all day for the most part, but and I've only been playing this on my Steam Deck, so I have. Okay, it says I have 40 hours. I don't have 40 hours. I think I've got like 11 hours, I think. I think I've just left open my Steam Deck for 40 hours.
Dude, but, I have, on Monster Hunter, I have like 150
Holy
hours.
fuck. And what period of time?
It came out, let's see. Let's look at my first achievement that I have on it, right? So I got it in March 1st, it looks like.
I can't. That is quite a lot. Yeah, that is a lot of hours. Yeah, but I'm not judging. That's your only game that you play, really.
Or no, yeah, March 1st I think is the first.
Yeah.
Like the first thing it says. Yeah. So, yeah, but I mean it's a lot. It's definitely a lot for me.
Did I ever tell you my RuneScape playing time or the age of my account? Hold on, let me try and find it now. So
I think you have, but I mean that one's like you a lot of the times like spent just like. In the loading, like right, like or not loading, but in like just like I think you're not really playing.
I think actively. The thing that concerns me about my RuneScape account is that I have had like 15 accounts on RuneScape, all with like ridiculous hours, and this account is my oldest account, And I think the age of the account is in particular the interesting thing, because like there's going to be viewers listening right now, and they're going to be like, that account is older than me. I'm opening it up right now to try and find it, and then we will get onto the Clara Dao thing. Yeah, to be fair, 150 hours, I think that is a lot for sure.
Yeah, no, it is. But the thing is, it's just crazy, man, because it's compared to other people, like in the game, right? There's like hunter rank is kind of like your level, right? And I think I'm like hunter rank 240, maybe 230 something. But there's people that are already hunter rank 999.
Wow.
Like,
what, in a month?
Yeah, a little over a month now.
That's crazy.
Because March, beginning of March, I think. So like 2 months, March. Yeah. Because it's April now, right? Yeah. So, but yeah, a good amount of time for sure.
I'm trying to find. There's like a man in this game where you go up to him and ask him for your age, but I actually can't find him. Come on, man! I'm recording the podcast. Here he is. So my character's age. It says you arrived in this world 7,719 days ago.
Oh my god!
So that would be days in years. That's 21 years.
Oh my god.
That's fucking insane. So that account was made in what, 2004, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's 2025 now, yeah.
And that isn't
That's
even
crazy.
that's not even my oldest account, but what makes it even weirder. So that's
Really?
just so, it's just so insane to think, man. That's literally older than some of our viewers. Well, maybe a lot of our viewers.
I think that's cool, man. Like, I think that it's cool to have something that's been a constant in your life for that long.
Yeah.
I think that's
I think
cool.
I think that's the oldest thing I own, my RuneScape account.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's. We've done one main topic. We've done a little bit of game and chat. Shall we move into talking about the Clara Dao situation? Which have you heard at all about anything to do with this?
Nope, not until you brought it up right before the podcast. So I'm here to learn, baby.
Yeah, I think this is a really interesting thing, because like there's this article which I've got from. This is from November the 29th, 2024, where it says, woman's bold message to trolls who say her boobs are too small for breastfeeding. Clara Dao is known for sharing body positive advice.
I'm sorry, but that's a crazy
Clara Dao is known for sharing body positive advice online. You know, whenever you hear that sentence, it's going to go into a whole world of drama. As she wants to help thin women feel seen. Perfectly valid. She tries to teach people that beauty comes in all shapes and sizes. And then there's a photo of her, and it goes, a woman has brilliantly responded to online trolls who told her that she would never be able to breastfeed because she's flat-chested. And yeah, it goes on to say that the same thing that it says in the headline pretty much. And yeah, basically, for a long time, Clara Dao is a TikToker who built a very large following. I believe she has millions of followers on TikTok, where a lot of it in particular was based around being quote-unquote flat-chested.
2.9 million.
Yeah, so she's big time. She's big time. She's bigger than us.
Okay, speak for yourself. I'm just kidding. Meanwhile, you have way more subs than I do. It's fine.
She's bigger than us combined and doubled. So I should say. Okay. So she's like known for like body positivity, in particular around like being, again, I'm not saying this, but quote unquote flat chested, and like it was seen as from the research I've done, it seemed to help a lot of people out there that she did this. And then as time has gone on, there has been a lot of situations that she's been basically accused of pretty familiar things that you get into when it comes to a lot of, I guess, fin positivity, like finspo, whatever you want to call it. And then the main accusation that we have here in our little document says, number one of the first things she was accused of is accusations of promoting disordered eating. It says, Clara Dao has been criticized for sharing content that some viewers interpret as encouraging restrictive eating habits. In particular, in a video, she discusses habits that keep her thin, and that has been called out for being potentially disordered eating, especially among her young audience. And critics argue that her portrayal of these habits contradicts her body positive message and could negatively influence impressionable viewers. And yeah, I believe basically what it is that there were like a lot of TikToks she kind of showed what she was doing in her videos of where she's like, this is how I stay thin and stuff like that. And this kind of this has happened quite a lot. I think you like 4 or 3 years ago did a video about Blair Walnuts, who is somebody that I personally know. And I remember I've not spoken to her for a long time, but she was going for a bit of a moment, and I remember she was doing videos of how she remained skinny, and it's like it's a very tough thing to come at because I think it's very clear that when somebody is so set in the mind of being ultra skinny, that it's not exactly the healthiest of things to go through, right?
Yeah, it's a tough situation, man. Like, because it's like, at what point is this promoting harm, really, right? And like, it's funny that you bring that up because I actually uploaded a video years ago, right? So this was a video that I uploaded when I was still living with my mom. I was, probably 22 or something like that. Like, so I'm 32 now. So it was like 10 years ago, Mm-hmm. And it was a video talking about how to deal with binge eating, right? Binge eating disorder. And the video was more like, how do you get through it? But there was a section of it like, what do you do after you binge? And YouTube actually very recently, they didn't just demonetize it, they removed it.
Wow.
This video had, it's super old, so it doesn't matter. And like, I'm not trying to flex, but it had millions of views. All right. So this was like one of my bigger videos. It had like 3 million views, which is 2 something, like a lot of views for me. And they took it down and they cited because it was like promoting self-harm. And I just was like, I reflected and I'm like, I'm sure there were things I could have said better. I was very young, I was just trying to help, in the situation. But like, I can understand from YouTube's point of view, like trying to make these decisions, but I definitely would never want to be in that position of like, because at what point, right? At what point is it just someone promoting their lifestyle? But at what point is their lifestyle just so extreme that it's like, we can't just promote this as like, this is my lifestyle. You think of like Eugenia Cooney, if she did like this is what I eat in a day to stay
oh my God,
size.
can you imagine? That shit would be like
it wouldn't be okay, right? And so sorry, I kind of went on a tangent there, but
No,
I just figured
no.
it was kind of similar to the situation.
and it's difficult. Like when you are, I think with Clara Dao, it's different. Like she hasn't lost weight in terms of she's not gone on a big weight loss journey, but at the same time, the premise is the same in like when you're telling people how you personally maintain a body weight or how you personally lose weight. I think it's hard because like you in particular weren't trying to like harm people or anything like that. You were just generally trying to give people advice. And I remember when I first lost weight, and I probably in the eyes of some people did things in like an unhealthy way. Maybe my deficits were too high. There's things that if I promoted that, I would have been in a lot of trouble. And I think this is when you get...
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I can almost guarantee they were. And that's not because you're a bad person, but it's like, especially if you're someone that doesn't know much and you're just like, I just want to lose weight. It's just natural. You end up being like, oh, this is working. What if I eat less? What if I eat... Like, it's just super natural, right? And so like, I don't think that makes anyone a bad person, but it's like, once you start promoting that,
yes, and making money.
Saying this is normal, but it's like, I feel for the person. Now, obviously, I'm kind of talking just about a person, a random person that would exist. Like, I would feel for that person because it's not like they're intentionally trying to do these things, but it's like a lack of knowledge and them just saying, this worked for me. And so I just want to help other people and tell them to do this. And they don't realize the things that they might be telling people to do are incredibly dangerous, like eat just 1,000 calories. It worked for me. It's like, whoa, that's maybe not enough for a 200-pound person, or whatever.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like, I think it's obviously the education is the most important thing. And I think a lot of people out there think that, oh, I can just like fast and I'll lose the weight, which yes, you will lose the weight. Like, and some people, like I've fasted before and it's never affected me on the long term. But some people will then develop eating disorders, and that's the only way they can live their life for the rest of their life. And that's the difference. We all have different brains. We all have different bodies. We can all do extreme things. Some can't do extreme things.
And it's for how long, right?
Yeah,
how long will
exactly.
it last?
Yeah.
Like there was this guy. You might know who this is. Maybe not. I mean, the UK is pretty big, but he was a gaming YouTuber, right? And his name was Pro Gamer J.
Oh, Pro Gamer J! What a throwback!
So, yeah, but
his water fasts.
He lost a lot of weight, and I did a video being like, because he lost a ton of weight, saying I'm not gonna eat anything, blah blah whatever, and I just was like, hey, this was like one of my first ever commentary videos.
Wow,
it was like one of the first ever ones, and I made this video about him. And, this was my first time ever doing it, so I was like super nervous. I was like, I hope he's not mad at me, like whatever, right?
Yeah.
Well, we actually follow each other now, And like we've had kind of like conversations about it. He was like, basically, I don't think he said this, but like basically it was like, he was almost like, you were kind of like right about the situation. I like, you know, it wasn't the best thing for me, but he's like, it seems like from what I've seen online, because we follow, I think it's just on Instagram, he seems like he's doing better now.
Yeah.
You know, because I think he did the water fast, lost a ton of weight. I think he gained a good amount of weight, and then he's lost most of it since, and he seems like he's like into fitness and stuff. But I just thought that was interesting, like kind of a funny story. But yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I can,
and it's
I
like,
can see.
It didn't seem like he was intentionally, when he did that video, like, hey, I'm trying to hurt people. Yeah. But he just didn't know, right? And it seemed like he was excited. He did this thing that he really wanted to do. It seemed like he was overweight for a long time. He was sick of it, and he lost the weight. And he was like, "See, I did this, and I want other people to do it." And I was like, "Hey, this is not probably the best way to go about things, and the chances of gaining the weight back are pretty high." Blah blah blah. Right? You know, all the stuff that I normally say.
Do you want to know something so interesting?
What?
So in the UK we have like a job app thing, like to show people's like work and stuff like that, where they can get jobs. It says here that he works for Mr. Beast now.
Oh really?
Yeah. He apparently. It says here he's worked.
I wonder if that's true. I wonder if that's true, or if he's just like trolling. Because I would not be surprised.
Well, I think to like on this website, it's like it's LinkedIn. Right? Do you have LinkedIn? In your
oh
yeah. So it's I think to like display who you work for, they need to approve it. And like it says here, he's worked for Mr. Beast for 5 years.
Makes sense. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he definitely was tuned into what works on YouTube at a pretty young age.
Yeah, dude, he's jacked now. To be fair to him, maybe we will need to walk. I'm joking. But no, yeah, I definitely think you are right in that, with a sense of like, I don't think people are at the core of it trying to harm people, but then it can get into like rooms of where like you do get them people criticizing you, and it can damage your ego. It can upset you.
You want to attack.
Yeah, and you almost double down. And from what I've seen, Clara Dao had that. She did put out a response, but we'll get into the second part of the controversy. So it says, controversial haircutting video. By the way, this isn't my research. It's just written down in front of us. It goes, in an attempt to show solidarity with oppressed Iranian woman, Dao posted a video of her cutting a small portion of her hair whilst crying, and many found this gesture. Is this wait? Let me. Clara Dao hair. Is this real?
How much did she cut off? Because if she's cutting off like a tiny piece, that's a little silly.
Okay, I found it. Oh my god! Oh, this is so loud. Hold on.
Link it up, dude. I need to see this.
Oh my god. All
right.
Oh, she's literally just cutting the ends off. I'll put this. I'll actually, if I remember, put it. Oh, dude,
is she literally just gonna cut her split ends off?
She's crying and everything.
Oh my god, dude!
Wow, and this got 500K likes.
The top comment. Not gonna lie, I thought you were joking.
So it says, "Not you cutting split ends off for the cause." Jesus. I mean, because I love you, girl, but what was the hair cutting for? Yeah, like, I mean,
it's one thing. Yeah, it's like one thing to spread awareness. Great. I mean, but who knows? Maybe that was the whole plan, and she knew that people would think it was ridiculous because, like you said, 500,000 likes. I mean, a lot of people learned about this probably from that. But
yeah, it seems that was like her first controversy. So the disordered eating stuff comes very much after that. But then we get into I don't really think there's much more we could say other than that's just utterly ridiculous. Yeah. But then we get into the main thing, which recently really got people talking. So like this thing went huge because of the first thing we went through previously of she's known as the person that promotes body positivity to flat-chested people, saying it's okay to be flat-chested, you shouldn't like conform to societal norms. And then on April the 1st, 2025, Clara Dao announced that she had undergone breast augmentation surgery. This revelation surprised many of her followers as it seemed to contradict her long-standing message of embracing one's natural body. Some fans felt betrayed, arguing that her decision undermined the body positivity principles that she had previously advocated. And see, this is like, I don't know if I should, like, I've not made a video on this because I was like debating, is this like, I
Is
was
it
a bit
weird to
uncomfortable.
talk?
Yeah, to
Is it
talk
weird
like
as a
I don't
dude?
want. Yeah, like is it like this is the thing. Like I've
What's
seen
up,
dudes
everyone?
make.
Today we're gonna talk about titties.
Yeah,
Let's
it's like
go.
it's like I don't know if this is like right for me to talk about, but like I think it is. I think I'm okay in saying I can understand why. I'm not coming on it, by the way, and saying she can't get the surgery. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm saying why I can understand the betrayal and that this led to an influx in people going crazy. Now, you can go into conversations surrounding whenever any like women influencer does anything relatively wrong, it leads into a witch hunt and loads of people make their videos and they don't even care about what they're talking about. Sure, that's a valid thing. But I, in this case, on top of the other things, can see why a lot of people start to think maybe this body positivity thing that she's been pushing is just a bit of a grift and not maybe her 100% stance.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that's relatively common. You know, it's almost like it's because with the internet, right? Attention is important, right?
Yes.
And that's currency, right? And so a lot of times it can, you know, again, I don't know much about this woman, and so, you know, God bless her. This is just me in general, speaking in general terms. I think something that happens pretty frequently when it comes to like the body positivity stuff, because I've seen this a lot with, you know, I obviously make a lot of videos about this with like weight loss and stuff like that. I think a lot of times it comes from a good place, someone making an original video about being positive about XYZ thing, right? Like for me, I'll just like, I've made a lot of videos about loose skin, right? Being positive about my loose skin. But I've always said, like, I'm not like, we'll never get the surgery, but I don't really feel the need for it right now. There's no need, right? But I think a lot of times it can get, like, you can make this original video and then, holy crap, it takes off. And then you're like, well, I'm going to make another video about that because that video did so well, right? And then you become, after a while, now you're that person. That's your thing. You are the body positive person about small boobies or about, you know, having loose skin or about being a fat person, whatever it might be, right? Like, that's your thing. And then something changes, right? Again, this is hypothetical, but say something changes for the position that you're in, right? Maybe you're like someone with loose skin and you start getting infections and it starts becoming a much more bigger issue than it was in the past, right? Or you're a bigger person that now your weight is becoming a problem and you're having health issues and you're like, I need to lose this weight. And then you decide to get a bariatric surgery or, you know, now you start taking Ozempic or whatever it might be, right? And then the people that were supporting you, that saw themselves in you, and then the support can be so many other things, right? Time, but it could be money, donations, buying merch, whatever it might be, right? Then they feel betrayed. And then that decision you made, maybe something that you had to do, is now this negative thing. Again, I think that's like the best way that it could happen. But there are plenty of people that I think like just see it as views and then that's all they care about. And then eventually they're like, they get enough money and they're like, oh, I want to change this thing. And then they do that. And then this happens, you know?
No, I think you really genuinely raise a really interesting point. Like, honestly, like what you just said there, I think you should, I think definitely for you, this would be a really good video because like you personally, I feel like have semi-experience in terms of like, you obviously are very well known for your loose skin video. You very much talk about it a lot and like help people with their loose skin and make them feel comfortable in that. But there could also be a point in your future that maybe you one day want to get the surgery and maybe you do. And maybe there will be people out there that, you know, maybe feel a little bit betrayed and that they shouldn't, of course, because that's, but like thinking about it for a second, like knowing someone that also maybe could have possibly gone through that with you, it does make me think, well, maybe, yeah, like honestly, I'm not going back on what I'm saying here, but I think like maybe we should think a bit more in terms of the human side of it, of like, yeah, you are right in the sense of maybe one day she was like, you know, I have been doing all this body positive stuff, but, you know, maybe I do like want to get, you know, some form of enlargement. And like, again, it's a tough one really, because like you can understand why people would feel a little betrayed. Maybe like breast augmentation surgery is a bit different to loose skin in the sense of like, it's, I don't know, it's like not unnaturally enhancing them, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's a tiny bit different, but it's also not. But I think when you kind of mix it in with the body positive things that she's been doing in terms of like allegedly promoting disordered eating and stuff like that, then you can kind of get why people are mad. But I do think it comes back to what I was kind of touching on of like, there definitely is a thing of where like the moment someone does one thing bad, everything from their past comes up and it's like the end of the world and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, I imagine she definitely has been promoting a lot of like unhealthy eating habits, and we haven't even got onto her apology and her response yet.
Yeah.
But I have seen posts calling her like outright evil for this sort of thing, and I'm like, she's not evil, bro. Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
She's she's an influencer.
Yeah, and I think like a lot of times, again, this is not always, and I'm not even saying this is necessarily what she did, right? But I think a lot of times when people are very outspoken about a certain thing about their body, right, and they're positive about it, a lot of times it stems from insecurity, right? They're embarrassed. They feel a lot of shame about it, and they're trying to take that back, right? They're trying to take back that shame they feel and trying to like take control of it, right? Like I think about, obviously, you know, me with my viral video that like it really did change my life. And like it really did change the trajectory of my life 100% when I stood up there. But like when I made that video, it's not like because I made the video now I'm all of a sudden completely fine with my loose skin. You know, I made that video because I was uncomfortable and I was doing something that made me uncomfortable, trying to be more positive about it, right? And so like I think maybe I see it from that perspective of like I think a lot of times the reason someone is making a video trying to be positive about this perceived negative thing, it's because they themselves do see it as a negative, but they're trying to almost fake it till you make it, like trying to be like maybe searching for other people that have something similar and, you know, just trying to find that common ground. And so, I mean, again, I don't know her. I don't know if that's what she was doing, but like trying to see the good in it and like why someone would be in that position that isn't just like comically evil and there, you know, there was a master plan the whole time, you know. I think a lot of times people can get themselves in situations without really realizing it. But I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see what her response was to everything. So so how that went.
So we haven't got like a transcript ahead of us, but we've got like 5 major points that she goes through here, of where the first thing she does, she acknowledges the backlash. She states she starts the apology by recognizing that many of her followers felt hurt or betrayed, especially because of the breast augmentation announcement. But then she goes on to defend the decision, stating that her surgery was a personal choice and something she did for her own confidence and not because of public pressure or to conform to beauty standards. Now, what do you think personally about that? Because like when it says it's for her own confidence, this obviously caused issues with people because it's like, well, you've been saying for like years and years and made a whole brand off it and money off it that like you should be confident in having a flat chest and stuff like that. And now you're saying that you're trying to get confidence from having this surgery. It's like, well, should you not be confident if you don't have it? It's like, again, it's like,
caught.
You
got caught.
it's like I don't really think there's a way for her to like get around this, because like if you're saying one thing and then you're kind of going back on that and doing something completely different, you're obviously gonna get like complete, like if you, for example, with your with your skin video, if you in that video said, I am never ever, no matter what, to the grave, never going to get surgery, and then you got surgery, I could kind of get when people may be like, that's a bit silly, mate. But like,
well, and like if it was a huge part of my content still, like I talk about it a little bit, but it's not like
it's not your brand.
All I talk about, you know? And so there's a little bit of a difference, I think, for sure.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Maybe if you like one day started promoting fasting or something like that, that would be like, then I'd be like, well, that contradicts everything in your brand, and like talking about disordered eating and stuff like that. But yeah, she went on to clarify her intentions, where she insists that her platform is always about encouraging people to love themselves as they are, which again is going to cause issue because you are changing who you are, which is your personal choice. Not saying it isn't, and you're not saying you can't do that. I'm just stating why people would be upset by that. But she also acknowledged that self-love can include making changes if they're genuinely for oneself. It does kind of feel like a bit of a cop-out. I don't know. Like it feels like everything she's saying here, it's almost like she's trying to hand a script to a commentary channel, being like, make sure you point out everything in every way I've contradicted myself. But like,
well, it's like, I think the best way to explain it is like she wanted to have her cake and eat it too. That's the way I see it. Like,
Yeah. She then went on to apologize for the infamous haircutting video, where she admits that the video did come off as performative, and it didn't land the way I would love to know how she originally intended it. She expressed regret for how it was perceived. Yeah, not I'm sorry, but I'm sorry for how it was perceived. I mean, look, if I could get 500,000 likes from cutting my split ends off, I would be a very, very rich man.
Go for it, man. What are you waiting for?
Man, I'm ready
for the video. You have to get some like Visine maybe put in your eyes and let it like drip down.
I'm trying to keep my hair, man. Then she addressed the Finn habits criticism. Clara stated that she never meant to promote disordered eating, and said that she would be mindful in the future and about how she discusses body-related topics. Now, again, from that, like, we haven't even watched it here, but like from that alone, it doesn't really seem like the best response. And yeah, it did cause a lot of controversy. I have some people in the comment section being like, hey, this is let her live her own life. And then I have some people being like, well, she's put a brand on it and she's contradicting herself. It's like, it's a bit of a mixed bag for sure. I don't think she's this fucking demon that some people are trying to promote her as. I don't think she's this evil like person who should be cancelled forever. There's far worse people on TikTok. There's far worse people on YouTube. I think that kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier of like, yeah, she has made this brand, but maybe she did just want to change one day. Again, not defending it, but like some people do one day just wake up and contradict themselves from who they were the day before.
Yeah, and I think like a big part of this is I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of her supporters maybe would have supported it if she maybe didn't in a more tasteful way, because it seems like people were really kind of taken aback by the way that it was like, presented to them. I think there's a way that like, I'm, again, just using my own example. I think like if I ever decided to get loose skin surgery, I would definitely like have dialogue before it happened. I'd be talking about, hey, I think I'm going to do this and this is why. Right? Like, yeah, you don't owe anyone an explanation. Fair enough. I don't think I owe anyone an explanation, but I personally would want to try and explain what maybe was going through my head at the time when I made the first original video, right? And then things maybe because with something like this, right? It's not like you wake up one day and you're like, bing, I'm going to do this, right? It's something that you think about over time, right? And so maybe like explaining that shift, like what shifted in me and what made me want to, change my position or whatever it might be, right? So for her, I think that there probably could have been a better way about this, and it seems like that's probably a big part of why people are upset. And I do believe that that's fair. I think like, at some extent, yes, you can always say it's no one's business, but when you start to make a brand and a whole persona about this stuff, it does become people's business, right? Because they are supporting you, and especially if you're making money off this stuff, right? And you're, it's turning into, how you, make a living, you do kind of owe an explanation. And so, that's kind of what I think, based on the very little that I know, obviously, but.
Yeah, I definitely think you're right in what you're saying there. And I think the problem is with these situations is people like try to really sensationalize them to the point of like, this needs to be the big villain of the week. This needs to be the worst person on planet Earth. But it's like, I think there's valid criticisms to be had here. I think that she clearly has betrayed, at least made people feel betrayed, I should say. And that she hasn't betrayed anyone. She's just made people feel betrayed. Because, yeah, she doesn't owe anything to anyone. But when you've built your platform on a certain thing, obviously you're going to be held to a higher standard than the average person because you've set the standards for yourself at the end of the day. You've made money off those standards. You've almost created yourself as like a figure in a body positive community. So there is going to be a standard. Like if Jamie Oliver randomly started a fast food restaurant where he was selling cheap burgers and everything like that, it's like that would be criticized because he is a very famous chef who has built his brand on healthy eating. Like that's a fair criticism, and people would be allowed to feel betrayed because they have set a standard. But at the same time, I am still a little bit uncomfortable just like commenting on things about women's bodies. Like, I don't know. I'm always going to be a bit iffy. I feel like I'm not going to make a main channel video, not because of that, but this is all I can kind of add. I feel like your perspective in a video would be really interesting because, you know, you've obviously got the loose skin thing, and like that would be like a very good comparable thing, and you could give like a I think when you talk about these things, it's very interesting because you have a lot more of like I'd say an empathetic understanding in comparison to when I was watching a few videos for research beforehand, and it was like, not calling her like certain words, but it almost felt like they were like trying to resist saying certain things. But you know,
it's interesting. It's an interesting situation because at the end of the day, our favorite term, you can't be surprised that people are going to, you know, have a opinion on this, right? Like I'm sure she knows, I'm sure she's smart enough to know that people were going to be at the very least surprised at this development, right? Yeah. And so I think like if she, I would feel really bad if she is completely caught off guard by this. And if that is the case, I hope that she is able to find maybe some people to become close to her in her circle that will maybe give her a little bit of perspective. But I would be surprised if she wasn't like, if she was surprised completely by this. Like, what the heck? Why are people upset about this? You know, like, I'm sure that she was aware that this was going to happen to an extent. Obviously, I'm probably not to this extent, right? But I think it's more than anything, it's one of those things that this is something that I always tell people when it comes to, because I get people messaging me, hey, I want to share my weight loss journey on YouTube. And I'm always like, that's fine, but just be aware and be careful because you are inviting people into a very intimate thing, right? Losing weight, and a very challenging thing. Losing weight is hard, right? But then you're making it harder by having all of these people have opinions on the things that you're doing. And then you're going to have opinions on, if you're struggling with weight loss, there are people who are like, why haven't you lost weight in 2 months? Whatever. Right. So it's like, I'm always like, you know, you obviously can do whatever you want, but just understand that there are things that are going to happen now that wouldn't happen if you just kept this to yourself. Right. And so like with her, I think like, you know, there might be people, and I wouldn't be surprised if say if she was just a content creator that didn't really talk about the fact that she was like flat chested, right? But she didn't hide it. That would that would be encouraging to people, right? People would see that and be like, that's cool that she's not hiding it, right? Yeah. And then there would be people that when she got a surgery and, you know, increase them, they would still be like, man, I'm really bummed out about this. But they wouldn't have much of a leg to stand on to say, I'm disappointed. Right. Yeah. I'm guarantee if people said that, people would in the comments be like, that's weird that you care.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
100%.
When you add the fact that she was making a lot of content about this, then once people have something to say, they have much better legs to stand on, right? They have much better a place to stand and be like, no, you said, and you told me, and you sold me, whatever, right? This lie, right? That's how they feel. It was a lie. It wasn't true. And then once you got the amount of money you needed or whatever, you completely switched up. And it's like this ultimate betrayal, which it might sound silly, like, oh, it's just boobs, right? But it's like, for that person that's really struggling and that's like their biggest insecurity, that's a huge thing, right? Like that's a huge deal. And like, so I can understand that like visceral feeling of being upset and feeling betrayed. It might sound silly when you think about what it's about, but it's not really that. It's more the feeling, right? The feeling of trust you had in someone and like the camaraderie and the fact that you felt you can relate to this with them. And now they've, you know, made it big and now they've switched it. And now you're like, well, now I'm still stuck here with this thing that now they don't have to deal with. And they're saying that they were actually embarrassed of it the whole time. And now I feel like I've been lied to, you know, this whole time. And so, you know, it's definitely a very, I think I might make a video. We'll see. But I think it's definitely very interesting for sure. Definitely very interesting.
Yeah. And I think you are right in a sense of like that feeling of like, there's this person you've looked up to who shares not an issue, but like a thing that you're sensitive about, whether it's your body or whether it's anything else. Like you see this person online who has built up this following on telling you it's okay. Like we're the same. Like don't worry. It's a normal thing. It's fine. And that's a comfort. And when that does get taken away, if the person's like, well, actually, I'm now going to go against what I've been saying, you can understand the outrage. I think, again, as I said before, people should make sure that they're not villainizing someone to a point of insanity. But like, there's definitely a complete understanding of why people are upset. And also, it's not just the whole thing of, getting the surgery. It's also the whole thing of promoting the eating habits that she has been. I think for a lot of people, that's actually one of the major issues of she has been very much known for promoting these things. But again, I go back to what I mentioned earlier when I spoke about another content creator who, you've spoken about before, and they were going through a time of where they were promoting a lot of unhealthy eating habits, and it was very clear that they were going for a bad time. And I think it's like important to come at these topics with empathy and understanding, and not saying to not criticize or anything, not make videos or talk about it, but just understand, like, obviously there are reasons to why people do things that they do. It doesn't justify it, but I think it's almost like a good way to learn from these sort of things and make sure it doesn't get repeated in the future, in a sense of, you see someone who, honest to God, wanted to start up a channel or a TikTok page or an Instagram page of where they were trying to let the world know that it's okay to be this type of way, it's okay to have this type of body. And, that can lead to things of where, well, how did you get that type of body? What are you doing to maintain that? To you, it works, but to others, it doesn't work. And if you're making money off that, then it could also lead to you feeling like you need to keep on making these type of videos and getting to a wider view of people. And then it could get dangerous, because people could start taking your message, interpreting it in certain ways and doing dangerous things. And then you mix it in with the supposed hypocrisy and the hair cutting videos. You can kind of get why it's become a bit of a shitstorm.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, I think it's very interesting, especially with like you were talking about with the just the way her body looks and how slight she is, and like how is she maintaining that? Is she promoting very unhealthy things to maintain that? I think that's all stuff that I think is fair to criticize, and it's stuff that we should talk about, right? But again, it's just how we talk about it, I think, is also important, right? There's no reason to really call it like names or like just be overly sensationalized, but also, like, I think there is the level, especially when, she's millions of followers, like, you have a responsibility at that point, in my opinion. Absolutely. Like, to not hurt, right? To not hurt people, and like do your best to, I'm not saying you have to be a saint, but like, if a lot of your content is basically leading people to want to hurt themselves to do what you're doing, I'm not saying she's doing that, but if that is happening, that's something that should not be encouraged. That is something that should be criticized, and yes, like, there's nothing wrong with criticizing that.
Yeah, and I think it is easy to fall into I think people think that talking about it is like, oh, you're just doing this for negativity or trying to like sensationalize the story. But it's like, I think from here, there's our perspective here. What we're trying to do here is have a productive and constructive conversation about how to prevent these things, why it's bad. I think it is a shame that these types of stories do kind of get like taken over by people that just want a story. They just want to sensationalize and just want Clara Dao to be deemed as like the new demon of the week of TikTok. But it's like, yeah, I don't think she's a terrible human being. I get why people are mad. I've got my criticisms, and maybe the story will evolve and we'll talk about it more in the future. But right now, I think the main point is just like, if I was speaking to Clara, I would say, you've got a very big platform. You should have done this beforehand, but obviously be wary of what you're posting, because it's not just like kids are watching. It's anyone could be watching. And I like will see someone lose weight ridiculously quickly, and I'm like, wow, how did they do that? And it's like, imagine being someone who's like 250, 300, even 400 pounds, and you're desperate to lose weight, and you see someone's lost it in a ridiculous amount of time, or even you're someone who's anorexic, and you're in that state of mind of where you're trying to maintain that, and it's like you see someone. I'm not trying to make Clara Dao feel bad, but her type of content, it can be dangerous. It can, and I think for some people, type of danger in terms of eating is commonly associated with just being large, but there is a very big problem on social media with people of very skinny bodies. And I'm not saying that skinny people need to like police themselves, but I'm saying just be aware that if you're posting content directly saying how I stay skinny, this particular, it could be very skinny, or it can lead to things, especially when you're then going to build a brand on it. It's a very sensitive topic, but it's an important topic that needs to happen, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%.
But I think that kind of wraps up the Clara Dao situation pretty well. To be honest, we spoke about that for way longer than I thought we were going to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was definitely interesting, man. I appreciate you bringing it to my attention, because I think it could be a video. I don't know. We'll see. But regardless, it's a very interesting situation. Definitely, obviously, very adjacent to what I make content on. So, I mean, maybe it's bad that I don't know about this. Maybe I should know this, but it is what it is. The internet's a big place. Okay,
we've been gaming, bro. You've been playing Monster Hunter. I've been playing Persona. We've got bigger things going on.
I wonder what her hunter rank is in Monster Hunter.
maybe that'd be good for her, man. Just get her on the fucking video games, Clara. If you wanna play some games with us, jump on Marvel Rivals or something. Even though I don't play Marvel. Yeah.
You don't want to play Marvel Rivals with me because you won't win a single game, but it's all good.
Are you bad?
I assume so. Yes. I mean,
you can't be any worse than me. I
don't know. I'm in like the lowest rank you can be. I haven't played since I've started playing Monster Hunter, but.
Getting out of ranked on that game is like, because of the rank system, it's just like impossible. I played like 3 games and I was like, fuck that. I am not playing this shit. Like, that's too much. It just got stressful, and I don't need that.
Fun, man. I like to play games. I don't mind games to be kind of challenging, but when you're playing up against other people and then they start being toxic, and then your team starts being toxic, it's like, why am I doing this to myself? This is not fun.
Yeah, Monster Hunter does sound fun though.
It's hard. Right? Because I'm playing against other people that are sweaty and the freaking, whatever. And then it's also hard because maybe they're being toxic in game chat. But then it's even worse when your team starts being toxic in game microphone chat and they're talking crap. It's just like, what am I doing here, bro? Like,
no,
Monster Hunter is fun, 100%. Definitely recommend anyone that wants to play it. You should definitely play it.
Yeah, I actually really want to. I remember playing the old Monster Hunter on my PSP when in like 2009 or whatever, and those games were fun. I used to play it with my brother, but I haven't played it since. I don't know why though. It seems like it would just be a fun game to play. I feel like I should get on it, but I'm kind of worried that it would take up my life, and I can't buy another game right now because do I own? To be honest with you, I probably do own a Monster Hunter and I don't even realize it because like I just buy games in sales and just never play them. Let's see. I own Monster Hunter World for some reason, and I've never played it.
Yeah, I think they've had some very like crazy sales on that because it's been out. I think it came out 2018 or something like that, so it's been out for a while.
Yeah, I've never played it. Literally not even installed it. But I think I just bought it being like, maybe I'll play it one day. Yeah, but well, I think that does kind of bring us towards the ending of today's, schedule of everything we were going to talk about. Honestly, it's actually been really nice coming on here because as I said to you beforehand, I've been in like a brain rot stage of like content production, and just talking about online things is kind of like, gets the gears going again, So I think tomorrow I'm just gonna actually get back into content mode because little hint for the viewers, I am working on a big 3-4 hour video, maybe. Hopefully it's not any longer than that. I've covered the topic quite extensively on my channel, but it's gonna be like a big from start to finish video about the topic. So you can guess in the comment section below. You'll find out when it comes out. But yeah.
Sounds good, dude. Thanks for talking to me. I know it's like, I don't know, it's like past midnight over there.
It is about to be 1 a.m. Yeah, but I'm just glad to be back. I think from now, I haven't got any trips to Japan for at least for a while, so I think we'll be consistent. But yeah, to be honest though, I am so eager to go back there. Like I have been asking, like, because like I went with my girlfriend and she has like an actual like job, so like getting time off is like, it's not like hard, but like to get time off to go away for 2 weeks to Japan, it's like that's quite difficult. So like, I've been like messaging all my friends being like, please can you come to Japan with me? And they're like, if you pay for my ticket, I will. But I'm like, hey, I haven't got that level of money.
We need to make some more videos, get some like couple million views, and then we'll be good to go.
Yeah, we can do a over
send
the
this
pond
podcast
trip.
to all your friends, you guys. Okay.
Yeah, we really
Japan trip.
Please just pay, and if we've got any
we
Japanese,
can do over the pond in Japan.
If we've got any Japanese viewers, just you want to hook us up with some accommodation, That'd be great.
Yeah,
Maybe a plane ticket, first class. That'd be nice. But
yeah, especially for me, that's a long flight for me. I think.
How much would it cost you? Like, because for me, it cost me a lot. So I imagine from America, it's
Boston to
okay. Let me do
wherever.
It right now. Boston, Tokyo, Massachusetts. I can't even say that. Okay,
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts. I can't say that.
It's a weird one.
Okay, but I feel like you need to do like 3 different flights, probably, right?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, to Tokyo, all airports from, let's say, the 16th of May to the 23rd. So we're gonna have to do a return because you ain't staying there. All right, it's loading. I'm on Expedia. Do you have Expedia in the US?
Mm-hmm.
Expedia's good. I'm an Expedia Gold member now, just from how
okay.
I didn't even know, but like I went into my hotel and they were like, "We've upgraded your room to a deluxe king room or something." And I was like,
"Oh, nice.
Why?"
Yeah.
And they were like, "Because you're a gold member." And I'm like, "I've never even paid for that." Apparently, if you travel loads, you like improve on your membership status.
Yeah.
And like, I'm about to go into the one. Oh, what the fuck? It's not that expensive for you.
Really?
In comparison, it's the same price pretty much. Well, it's expensive, don't get me wrong. Okay, so your non-direct flight, actually, no, what am I talking about? It is a bit more expensive. Okay. If you were to go, okay, the cheapest one I could find is, okay, this is in pounds though, isn't it? So,
oh God.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
no.
Okay,
no. $1,000.
For this is the cheapest, by the way. So, hold on, it's just loading them up. This is riveting content for the viewers. Okay. I said there was an £800 one, but okay, for a 16-hour flight, my friend.
Oh my God.
You can have in economy as well for return flight $1,400.
Oh my God. So that's round trip.
Yeah, round trip. But that also is a non-direct flight. So you'd have to. Where would you stop? I believe China probably. Yeah, you'd stop in China for a direct flight, which is a flight that I had. That I'm even impressed that you can go direct from where you are to.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
It's actually the same length. It's 13 hours. That's what it took me as well. That would cost you $2,200 in economy.
Dude.
Do you want to find out how much that'd be for business class?
Let me guess. I'm gonna guess $2,500.
24. That's in 25,000.
2,500.
Wait, is that 2,500? Am I chatting?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, for business class, oh, dude, I think I'm going. To be fair. Oh, wait, they don't even offer business class on this. Okay, that's because it's American Airlines. Hold on. Do they even do business class from America to Japan? Surely they do. Oh, we will get this and then we will end this podcast.
If you're still here,
okay. All right, we'll do first class. See if that exists. I'm betting $13,000.
$13,000.
Yeah, first class would be really expensive, probably. I reckon. Let's see. No, that's not what it is. That's my guess.
Yeah.
By the way, this isn't direct. I'm trying to find a direct. Okay, there isn't a direct first class one. For the shortest non-direct. Oh my God! All right, have a guess.
Well, I don't know. 10,000.
$29,000.
Dude, okay, that's ridiculous. Like anyone that is paying for that, they
crazy. There's like
I don't have
you are
good
too
things
rich
to say about that.
Yeah, you're
too rich. You're too rich.
Well, surely business class.
That's like so many people's yearly income.
Yeah, in some cases maybe even like double. Like for like someone like a teenager working like a job. Like that's probably double their income.
God, dude.
I'm trying. Surely business class isn't any worse. Okay, business class is a little bit better. The cheapest you can find. Have a guess. 8,000, which isn't
okay.
Which isn't as bad.
I mean, that's still bad.
It's fucking. It's also
compared
again
to 30,000 or something like that.
I think what makes the 29,000 one even more insane is that it's not a direct flight. It's you have a stop and you have to like wait in the airport. Crazy. for me, I think it's like, it's still expensive to go there, but I think if I was to get a non-direct flight to Japan, it would cost me, for a return, just under $800, which is not that bad.
Like who is buying that? There's just no way. Like if I went on a flight like that and I saw someone actually sitting in first class, I would have to stop. Like, what do you do for like how?
Yeah, no, 100. It has to be just billionaires, right? Like even if you're a millionaire,
or businesses literally just using it as a tax write-off. That's the only thing I can think of.
Like, I know. I don't know who it was. I think it was Adam McIntyre. He didn't get first class, but I believe because he went to Japan around the same time as me, and he got a business class flight. And I remember being like, "Wow, you're making money," and I'm like, "We're in the same space, bro. What am I doing wrong?" Maybe it wasn't business. It looked like business class. Do you know what? For my flight, I got economy, but I paid an extra $80 to have the bulkhead seat where you have extra leg room, and that's good for me, man. That's all I need, just a bit of leg room. Like I think honestly, even if I was like a millionaire, I still wouldn't pay that money.
Yeah,
like it's a flight, bro. It's like 10 hours of your life. Just deal with it.
You'll survive. Yeah.
Just get some melatonin, pop one of those, and you're fine.
Get a Steam Deck. All right, you'll be fine. Or a Switch too, I guess.
Yeah, that'll be next time I go there. But yeah, we'll wrap it up there. If you do want to sort us out by paying for our first class tickets, you are more than welcome to donate down below. And
hit the donate button.
Thank you very much for watching, everybody, and we will see you next week. I promise that. And peace out, everybody. Bye bye.
Peace.